Hey guys, here to talk about The End of Oak Street. I really loved it. I highly recommend it. Sure, it has a few flaws and the ending is a bit controversial, but if you want Jurassic Park in the 1980s, you're gonna love this movie. And I cannot believe with the budget of $90 million that this movie actually looks that good. And the visuals I thought were pretty good for the most part. Sure, you could argue that some of these dinosaurs don't look realistic enough, but they did what they can with the visuals, because what I love for a lot of CG movies is when the human characters, which look real, actually interact with something that you know aren't real, but they make them feel like they're actually real. So the fact that these humans are actually interacting with the dinosaurs, it makes you feel like the world is real. And from what I've seen, it doesn't look like a full like just green screen effects and everything. They actually tried their best to make everything look as realistic as possible, and I like that. There's a couple of interesting shots. I think it's called a split dioptic or a split diopter. I totally forgot the full name of it. It's when I don't fully understand the process as well. I should though. It's let's say there's this one shot where Anne Hathaway face is right here, and in the background you see her daughter on the couch, but it seemed like even though the daughter on the couch is supposed to be further away, but she's also in focus, just as in focus as Anne Hathaway's face over there. That was during the conversation, and they did the same thing with Ewan McGregor and his son. Well, Ewan McGregor's face is right here in focus, and his son is also in focus, but he's actually further back, but it seems like he's right there. So they did a bunch of shots like that, and I thought that was pretty cool. And I do like the fact that a lot of this movie takes place in the daytime, so you can see the dinosaurs in their full glory, and I thought they looked very, very good. And these are the dinosaurs that actually have feathers this time. And which is funny because at one point in the movie, I think the kid was looking over a textbook, and he was looking at the dinosaurs, and a lot of them didn't have feathers. They just had regular scales. So now the dinosaurs actually have feathers in the movie, so that was pretty cool. So if I have to go into what I liked and what I hate, I do have to discuss spoilers. But before I go into that, there was this scene where it was so shocking when it happened. I actually cried. This happened like before the finale, so I cannot believe that this movie had the balls to do that, and I am so happy for it. This movie, man, for a PG-13 movie, it is violent. I love that the director, David Robert Mitchell, tread the line between PG-13 and rated R. Like, it's so close to being rated R, but he managed to get away with so much stuff. And it's with dinosaur violence, man. People will die. You see people getting their heads about to be eaten off, and you see dead bodies on the ground. You see blood, you see gore, and it's great. They showed enough to, push the PG-13 to its limits, and I love it when movies do that. The fact that this movie does so much violent shit compared to even some rated R movies, wow. I'm impressed, man. So yeah, I really like the movie. I highly recommend it. Okay, now going into spoilers. All right. So what I love about this movie taking place in the 1980s is that they don't have cell phones. They have limited technology. They have limited weaponry as well. So that was very cool. And I do like that they set up like what each character is able to do. Anne Hathaway is definitely the main character in this. And you see in the photographs that she actually is very good at using guns. So she's, once she found a gun later on in the movie, she actually uses it. And again, what I like about this is that it kind of feels like playing Resident Evil. Like, okay, so yeah, no weapons. You finally found one. Okay, here's a shotgun. You only have a few shotgun shells. So that's all you get. So you have to use it sparingly, and also when it's at night, you shouldn't be that loud. You gotta be quiet, otherwise every dinosaur can hear you and go into your position. So I love the survival horror aspect of the movie, and the characters I thought were all relatable. I heard a couple reviews or a couple opinions that the kids were very annoying, and Ewan McGregor's character, his name is Greg, I believe. Yes, Greg, that he's very wimpy, and I honestly didn't really get that vibe. Ewan McGregor's character, Greg, he's down on his luck because he lost his job, couldn't tell his family about that because he know that, Anne Hathaway's character, Denise, is really upset with him because of his career choices and everything. So Greg is trying to, provide everything he can for his family in the meantime. And he is delivering pizzas. And he's trying his hard not to let Denise know that he lost his job, but he eventually had to tell her the truth. And she had ideas of leaving him and the family so she could try to go off on her own and be a successful author. So I wouldn't say she's completely selfish because she is trying to be a good mother, but she does have these thoughts of what would happen if I go this route without my husband and my family. Would I be more successful that way? So, and Greg is trying to do whatever he can to provide his family in the meantime. And even though he doesn't have the skills of Anne Hathaway, like how she uses guns, he still tries to do what he can to protect his family from this whole situation. And the kids I thought were good. I like the daughter, I like the son, but there was one part about the son's story that I did not like. And I didn't like that it came back up again. It's the one about the bullies. So he accidentally, no, I don't think he accidentally. I think he actually did it on purpose. He broke the arm of a kid, and the brother is very angry at him breaking the arm, so he wants revenge and wants to beat him up. So they showed that part in the beginning, and it actually comes back later on in the movie. And at that point, I was like, listen, we don't have time for this. There are dinosaurs everywhere. People are dying. You're out in the open, and all you care about is this kid breaking your brother's arm. I'm pretty sure there's more important shit to figure out, but I can understand what the director was trying to, what the storyteller is trying to do. I think David Robert Mitchell wrote this, right? I gotta double check, but yeah, was trying to say, and they did go into the fact that, listen, there's no time for this because he was beating up the kid, and the bully's brother is telling him, listen, we don't have to do this now. We shouldn't do this now. There are dinosaurs everywhere. Let's forget it. Who cares about my broken arm right now? So when the bully stood up, he's like, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry, because he was so angry at that point. He just wanted to let go, but he was also like traumatized because of all the dinosaur situation. So I kind of get that, but I wish that this story didn't happen at all. Like, we didn't need the bullies thing. I kind of felt like it's a bit more padding. I don't think it really added anything to the son's story, honestly. So I kind of felt like the bully thing should have been kept out. But I did like that the daughter is into astrology, and she knows about the like solar flares and how could it affect time and everything. So that was great. And I did like the joke of when they were all sitting down, and Anne Hathaway is trying to be optimistic, but she couldn't. So Greg was being optimistic, and she's like, "Wait, why are you like this? Like, we're in this situation where people are dying, dinosaurs are eating everyone. Why are you like this?" And he said, "Oh, God wouldn't let us die." And Denise says, "Oh, come on! You go to church once a year, and it's during Christmas." That was funny. But yeah, the dinosaur violence, man. Oh my God. So there was a lot of lead up. There was a lot of setup. It took some time to actually get to the dinosaur carnage. So I think it's like 20 to 30 minutes because, they have to show the environments of Oak Street, how it is, and also the family dynamic. And they slowly talk about there was a radio, and it was talking about the solar flares. And so you do hear snippets of that. And then we have Denise, who goes meet up with her neighbor, who's an editor, and who worked on her husband's stories. So she is willing to edit Denise's story. And it talks about, her leaving her family, going off on her own and stuff like that. So while she's dealing with that, she wants to be a successful author. She wants to see if she could actually be successful. And then this whole light thing keeps happening, where you see bright lights at night. And then at one point, it was raining, and Greg just finally came back home. He was in the car. Then all of a sudden, there was a big flash of light, wind everywhere, and it was just raining, and then it just stopped. Everyone's ears popped and everything. So it turns out that they actually teleported back through time. So the next morning, they realize, oh, the water's gone. The water is not working. The electricity is not working. And the dog, Starbuck, is gone. So the two parents decide to try to find Starbucks. They separated. And Denise decided to visit the neighbor who's an editor. So when she went to the house, she saw that the neighbor is dead. There's blood on the ground and stuff, and bloody footprints, and a shotgun was right next to her. So, wow, yeah, all of a sudden you're like, holy shit just got real. We didn't realize there's this much blood gonna be in this movie. And earlier, there was like a Jurassic Park reference too, where the neighbor was talking about a big pile of shit in his backyard, and it was literally a giant pile of shit. And he believed that Starbuck and the kid did it. That was funny. What was it? So Anne Hathaway noticed that there was this plant growing in the editor's lawn, and it ended up becoming huge. And I do love that they're trying to figure out, okay, what exactly is this plant? Oh, it came out during prehistoric times, but that shouldn't be possible. And then they're talking about solar flares and stuff. I thought this movie was written pretty well for the science part, at least, until we get to the ending. So they are talking about time distortions and stuff. So we have this chase where Ewan McGregor, Greg, ends up seeing not exactly a velociraptor, but there's this giant raptor that's more like a bird and is covered in feathers, but it could still eat people. So he's being chased by that, and Denise grabs a gun and was shooting one. And because these dinosaurs are so big, they could still be wounded, but because they're huge, they could take a couple shots. So I thought that was cool. And right now it becomes basically Dino Crisis, which was so much fun. So they boarded up the house, and they try to figure out how to survive. They know that they have to find food eventually and water eventually, because they don't have that much left inside the house. So at one point, Denise was actually trying to write her novel in the basement. And then the daughter was trying to board up the place, and she goes down to the basement because they want to sleep there, and it turns out it was all flooded. And at that point, I saw this with my girlfriend, Cassie, and at that point, I totally forgot why that whole part with the basement is so important. But Denise was actually using a typewriter and typing out her story in the basement. And this is the 1980s, not a lot of people have computers. There's no real way to save, and everything is on paper. So all her work is ruined. So she was very upset about that. And I feel for her. Sure, you could say like there are more important things to think about right now because of dinosaurs. But at the same time, she worked her ass off trying to make this work. But unfortunately, it failed. Greg ended up reading the story about it, and they had a real argument about that. He feels like Denise always makes him think that he's a failure, and that she was thinking about divorcing him and everything. And I thought this, even though dinosaurs are still killing people, I thought this conversation was real. And again, my parents' marriage is a little complicated a couple times. So I felt that. I was like, yep, I heard that conversation before. So I thought that felt realistic. But then we get to a part where, again, I understand it's necessary for the movie. But I do think that a lot of people would be correct that the son did a very stupid thing. He decided to leave the house because he saw Starbuck outside being chased by the dinosaur. And again, it depends on what kind of person you are and what kind of family you are and if you have pets. Some people would say, listen, I understand him. I would do whatever it takes to keep my pets alive. If I see my dog being chased by a dinosaur right outside, I'm gonna go after it. So if you're one of those people who can understand that, that's fine. And he is a kid, so I can understand why he's stupid and reckless for that. But the fact that this is at night and he's chasing after the dog and yelling out his name at night when dinosaurs can, try to triangulate where they are and attack him. Yeah, he wasn't smart about that, but it was necessary for the story though. Because he left, the sister saw him leave, so she tries to go after him, and then Denise sees that they're gone, so she and Greg decide to go after them. And before this, Greg says that we should all stay inside. Maybe we'll be saved by God or something like that, so we could try to figure it out. But Denise is the one that says, nah, we gotta be like survivalists. We gotta go outside. We gotta find food. We gotta find water. Otherwise, we won't live for the next few days. So they try to go after them by car, and eventually Greg and Denise ends up finding these cute looking turtles. There's like 30 of these guys just blocking the road, and they were adorable. And then we get to a very fun scene with the Spinosaur, and it was cool. It reminded me of Jurassic Park 3 for that. So the Spinosaur was trying to grab them through the car and then push the car into the house, and it starts burning. That was neat. That was really cool. And then the kid ends up passing a pool, which has a giant ass white snake. And then the kid just ran away. And that was it. And I was like, wait, that's all we're going to see about the snake? You can't design this and, render it for God knows how long and then use the snake for like 10 seconds? You can't do that. Of course, they have to use the snake later. So, and then we get to the bully part where the kid gets beat up by the bully, which again, I thought was unnecessary. So, the sister ends up finding the brother, and then eventually they end up saving this girl from a bunch of like raptors. And her name is Jeanette, and I think the son had feelings for her or was interested in her at one point. They showed this girl like a couple times before this, and it turns out that the girl's parents are already dead at this point, and she was trying to survive on her own. So if the brother and sister never ran away from the house, Jeanette will probably be dead. So at least it's a good thing that they actually left the house. And it was another good thing they left the house because the parents are trying to look for them, and the parents found out that there's a portal that people can get inside of to go back into their own time. So again, the son leaving the house to go for the dog, some people might say it's stupid, but in terms of the story, it makes sense. And if he never done that, they probably would never find Jeanette, and they would probably never find that portal. So, and also what I'm saying is very important for the ending. So the parents found the portal, and they decide to try to find their kids again so they can all leave at the same time. And the kids went with Jeanette inside of a house to keep shelter, and they eventually meet up again. And then they hear some giant noise around the house. So Denise and Greg decide to investigate, and it was one of the funniest scenes I've seen in a movie like this. Two Brachiosauruses fucking they're having sex on top of a garage, and it was hilarious. And I love the realistic reaction that Denise had. She just snorted and she was laughing, and Greg's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And she's like, listen, this is so funny, I gotta take a picture. And she had a Polaroid camera, and she's like, wait, you gotta pose, you gotta stand there and pose, otherwise people wouldn't think it's real. So Greg was posing right in front of two Brachiosauruses having sex. So that was funny. And then we get to a very fun scene where they try to get closer to the house that had the portal. But when they were trying to find their way there, because some areas are blocked by dinosaurs, some areas are blocked because of fire. So they're trying to find their way there. and at one point they're deciding where to go, and you do see in the background this Allosaurus going around the houses and found them and started running towards them. So this Allosaurus is freaking silent. So I think some people might have issues with that. They're like, listen, a velociraptor or any raptor can do that easily because they're like 6 feet, and they wouldn't be that loud if they're stealthily about to pounce on something. But this is an Allosaurus. Why is it so silent? So you see this Allosaurus slowly coming towards the screen, and then the son saw it, and they all screamed, and then they all went their separate ways. Then we had this fun scene where the Allosaurus is chasing all of them. The son went inside the garage and he's about to get eaten. And then the sister pulled him out of the garage, and the Allosaurus is trying to chase after them. And then Greg was trying to distract the Allosaurus. And then the Allosaurus was about to chase him. And then Denise shot the Allosaurus. So the Allosaurus was running after her. And what I love about this is that the humans are not that fast against the Allosaurus. So they know that they'll be outrun because of how huge this Allosaurus is. So Denise almost got in, so she went inside the porch of a house, and she lost the gun. The Allosaurus broke it, and she's about to get in. Then Greg comes in with the sledgehammer, hits it on the leg, and then hits the Allosaurus in the face, knocking it out. So I was like, woo, that was awesome. And then, as Greg was trying to get Denise out of the porch, the Allosaurus quickly got back up, bit on Greg's leg, and then was twirling him around for a little bit, and then slammed him into the ground. And at that point, I was shocked because, oh my God, what's gonna happen to Greg? And then you see Greg just laying down, screaming, and his leg got bitten off. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw this. I was like, Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan Kenobi, his leg was eaten by the Allosaurus. So, at this point, I thought that Starbuck would save the day. I thought Starbuck would distract the Allosaurus enough so they could get Greg out of there. I thought wrong. The Allosaurus ate Greg. Right there. Ewan McGregor is dead. Obi-Wan fucking Kenobi is dead. I was shocked. Cassie was shocked. And then I ended up crying. I thought the movie got to me, man. It got to me. I really like this character, and I couldn't believe this movie had the balls to kill him off like that right there. And there's more movie coming up. We're not even near the finale yet. I couldn't even believe it. It's setting up the third act, and he's dead. I couldn't stop crying. The tears were coming out of my eyes. Oh my God. Oh, and it felt real too. Denise saw her husband dead. The kids saw their father dead. And they just walked away because the Allosaurus is busy eating him up. Oh man, it was such a real reaction too, because she said all these bad things about him and having thoughts about leaving him, and the fact that they did spend the night in the car because they're about to get trampled by a bunch of dinosaurs, and you saw them holding hands at that time. So it seems like they're trying to keep the marriage together at least. So give it like a second chance and stuff. And they also had a great time, with the Polaroid, with the fucking dinosaurs and stuff. But now he's gone, and they're dealing with the reality of that. They tried their best to survive, and he's gone. So they went back to their house trying to get supplies and everything, and then the snake came back. And it was super silent too. It's this giant ass albino snake that reminds me so much of the snake from Resident Evil. So that's why I was like, whoa, that is cool. So the snake was about to eat Denise, and then the son shot it with a bow and arrow. It was the only successful part of the bow and arrow this entire movie because he kept missing. So he finally shot the snake, which distracted it and tried to go after the son. And then you see Denise pulling out a kitchen knife and just stabbing the hell out of the snake. And I laughed every time it cut back to her just continuing to stab the snake. It just kept going on for like 2 minutes. Ah! That was funny. And that was cool. And that's not the end. So the snake goes away, and now the kids and Denise try to go to the house with the portal. And in this house, it turns out that it's the house of this Asian librarian that was telling Denise about the plants. So we're like, oh shit, she's here. And it turns out that her husband is dead. So she's locked up in this room with a shotgun ready to shoot at the dinosaurs. So she doesn't realize that Denise and the kids are here because she just thought, okay, the dinosaurs are still in the house. So we see Denise and the kids go up on the roof, and they see this portal, which is not on the house. It's just hanging outside the house next to a tree. So they have no choice but to jump into it. But the problem is that the portal is going in and out of existence. So if they mistimed it, they would fall. So the first one to go is Jeanette. So she jumped in successfully, and then it was the kid. And then when the kid decided to go and jump into the portal, he mistimed it and fell through and fallen all the way to the ground, breaking his leg. I was so shocked. And then the flying dinosaurs saw this and tried to attack him. And that's when Starbuck finally come to save the day. Starbuck saved the son. And Starbuck had a great scene right there. You see Denise trying to kill the bird and everything. That was cool. So they finally try to slowly go back up the house, and then they realize that there are these dinosaurs that are basically just giant alligators just surrounding the house, and they were about to die. And then the Asian woman finally opened the door and shot one of them. And then she unfortunately gets eaten. So she actually saved Denise and the kids. Denise and the kids ran up to the roof, and they decided they had no choice. They all have to jump at the same time at the right time. So they finally jumped off the roof, went inside the portal, and they went back in time to 1982. And it was raining. They jumped inside some woman's pool, and there was a funny scene where the daughter was yelling at her, "Are there fucking dinosaurs around here?" And the woman was like, "Y'all crazy. You gotta leave the house." So it turns out that it's like about 30 minutes before the whole Eventables happen, because it's like 11 o'clock where everyone gets teleported back in prehistoric times. So they are so far away from the house, and there's almost no way to save everyone in that area. So what Denise she saw there's a phone booth very close to her. So she uses it to call up as many people as she can to try to get them to leave their houses. So we saw her and the kids just waiting on a bus bench for the buses. And then you see a pizza car coming towards them, and it turns out Greg is there because Greg was doing last minute rounds to deliver pizzas. And because she got Greg there before the teleportation happens, they're able to save him. And right before that, I gotta say, Jeanette realizes she has like 30 minutes left, so she's trying to go do whatever she can to get to her parents to make sure they're safe. So that's very important. They save Greg, the teleportation happens, all of the whole town goes away, and then you see the whole area being replaced by the same area in prehistoric times. So you see the swamps, you see the plants, the forest, everything. You see the brachiosauruses and the raptors and the allosauruses. They're all creating havoc. And Greg is like, "Is that a fucking dinosaur?" And then it cuts to black there. And then it shows a TV program where it's 2 years in the future, and they do talk about Denise and her family. They talked about how successful her book is, and the fact that she did save some people. She saved the editor, she saved the librarian, she saved the neighbor. So in this timeline, she's able to save them. I'll get to why this is going to be a giant controversy. Okay, so Greg is saved, the librarian is saved, the editor is saved, the neighbor is saved, so she's able to save a few. And then it cuts to outside, where it turns out that I think they're having a barbecue. So you see Denise, the son, the daughter, Greg, and Jeanette there. And then the camera kind of pans a little bit to the left, and you see 3 more people show up. You see 2 adults and a younger girl. And I was like, oh, that must be Jeanette's parents. But at the time, I didn't fully understand it. I didn't fully realize it. I just think to myself, wait a second, Jeanette never mentioned she had a sister. So the way it was shot, you see Jeanette face, the front of her face. You actually do see her here. She's behind Greg. And then as it shows the side profiles of the 2 adults and the girl was about to hug Greg. And then it cuts there, and then it says the end of Oak Street. So my girlfriend didn't fully realize what happened at the end. She just saw, okay, so Jeanette, so the girl hugs Greg, and then that's it. You know, her parents are alive. But again, like I said, in my head, I was like, I don't think Jeanette ever mentioned a sister. So that's when I checked up Wikipedia to fully realize there are 2 of them. There are 2 Jeanettes. And because of that, so I had a slight problem that Denise saved Greg, because I thought that was a bit of a cop-out ending. Part of me was hoping that, okay, maybe they just went back to the present, and, that's when, the whole teleportation, that's when it just started. So they came back their time. They lost Greg. A bunch of people died and stuff like that. And that would be it. But no, because they went back in time, 30 minutes before the whole teleportation thing happened, they're able to save him. So it's like, okay, so I'm able to get him back. So it felt like a bit cheating, because I just suffered. I cried for Greg's death, and now you're telling me, oh, you saved them. But no. Because of the 2 Jeanettes, I thought about the dark implications of this ending. So, Denise saved the editor, who had a gun. She saved the librarian, who had a gun. She saved Mel, the neighbor, who had a gun. She saved Greg. Which means that Greg is not with the family. Not with the family that just got teleported. Which means it's just Anne Hathaway, the son, the daughter, and Starbuck. But the whole reason why they were out in the neighborhood at the time was trying to find Starbuck. But now they are 1 man down. So if there's a giant chance that once they wake up, they realize not just Starbuck is gone, but the father is gone, the husband's gone. So we're probably going to have to go out in the neighborhood to find them. And again, they're a man down. And also they cannot be saved by anyone. And the reason why Denise was able to get the gun in the first place is because the librarian had the gun in the house. And the other Denise would probably not know what to do. So they're probably dead. So Denise screwed herself. And I was talking with a friend of mine, and I can understand why he didn't like this kind of time travel theory, because it's not like Back to the Future. So in Back to the Future, especially in part 1, Marty McFly went back in time, like a few minutes trying to save Doc Brown. But he cannot interact with himself, because if he does, then Marty would never go back into the past in 1955. So he has to make sure that still happened, but he's also trying to save Doc Brown. And and if they go to the past, if they change anything of the past, there's a giant chance that they would be erased. So because they saved Greg in this movie at the end, he says that the photograph should not exist because Greg is not there. So I could see why that people would be, unhappy since it didn't do that way. It basically went the way of Avengers Endgame, where Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk said that if you travel to the past, that past is your own future because you already done it. So I believe that that's it. Like the Denise and the family, they already went through that. So when they went back to the past, that past is now their future. So it's like, again, we don't fully understand how the time works. Is it like the multiverse or something like that or anything like that? So yeah, I can see why some people don't like the time travel aspect of this. I can see why some people think it's a cop-out that they're able to save Greg, but also I like how dark the ending is when you think about it, because there are two Jeanettes there, and which means that, since she saved the librarian and everyone who could easily help her to fight off against the dinosaurs, she screwed herself in the alternate time thing. So yeah, I liked it. So at first I didn't like the cop-out, but the more I think about the ending, the more I liked it. I like that it got dark because this is the It Follows director, That's why. So yeah, again, I really love the movie. It was a blast. I'm pretty much like anything with dinosaurs, so I'm biased. I'm sorry. So again, I highly recommend this movie. It is a short one too. It doesn't overstay its welcome. All I'll say is this: if they cut out the whole bullies arc, I think it would be better. Because I think if the brother and the sister end up meeting up together and they met up with Jeanette, I think that would have been fine. You could say, again, I don't feel like the bullies thing added anything to the son's character either. Maybe I'm just not reading into it that much, but I felt like, the bullies thing doesn't really do much. It does make me remember Jumanji. Remember the opening with Alan Parrish getting bullied because he's hanging out with the bully's girlfriend? It kind of reminds me of that and him being chased by the bullies on the bikes. Yeah, this movie is like Jumanji with dinosaurs in a way, and I loved it, okay? I really loved it. And when I say Jumanji, I mean the first Jumanji, the one with Robin Williams, not the one with The Rock, even though I like that series as well. Anyway, so that's the end of Oak Street, guys. I highly recommend it. Write down in the comments below if you've seen it, if you liked it, if you hated it, please let me know. All right, guys, see you next time. Later.